Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pest Control Legends. I'm your host, Dan Leibrandt, and today I'm joined by Paul Alley, who is the president of Pestmaster Services of the Hudson Valley. Paul has 39 years of hands-on experience in pest management. He's an associate certified entomologist, and he's been a bedbug detection canine handler since 2001, actually deploying the first entomological scent detection canine in New York State. He leads the #1 Pestmaster franchise in the entire system with a team of 42 professionals delivering everything from general pest control and wildlife services to aquatic pest control, vegetation management, and even aerial pesticide applications by helicopter. So I'm super excited for this episode. I've heard tons of good things about Paul, and without further ado, Paul, welcome to the show.
Ah, well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate being here.
Of course, man. So, and I was actually listening to a podcast of you recently, and you were saying, like most people, that you kind of fell into the pest control industry. But can you talk about how almost 40 years ago you got into pest control?
Yeah, let me rewind the 8-track tape player. Um, I was just a kid in college and here in Florida actually, and just it just kind of like I need a job. And we've even gone so far as to ask our staff, say, how did you get into pest control? Did you and anybody I talk to, very few people will say, yeah, I planned on being here. I didn't plan on being pest control. I was actually trying to go uh, become a police officer. Thank God I didn't. But yeah, so here we are 40 years down the road, and my wife and I have built a pretty successful, pest control business.
Awesome. So, yeah, I mean, talk to me about those early years. So, were you a technician, or what exactly
Well,
were you doing?
absolutely. I started from the ground up. I remember, doing baseboard spraying back in the 80s, and just spraying baseboards, doing 10 to 15 houses a day, sprayed baseboards, which obviously, we don't do that anymore. Some companies still do that model, but, my company model, we don't do that, you know,
Hmm.
but spray
Okay.
baseboards and just running around, ran a trout in a route in Miami, in a stick shift Toyota Tacoma with no air conditioning. That's how I felt my tooth. I got the broken truck with no air conditioning.
Dang. Okay. And now, fast forward to now, you have the biggest franchise the biggest location, I guess, franchise in the Pestmaster
Correct.
franchise. So
Correct. About 50
so
locations.
yeah, so when did that start? When did you get involved in the franchise?
We got involved in late 2000, like December 2000. We bought the franchise. We opened our doors in March of 2001. And our first year, we did like $35,000. So from March to December, we did $35,000 in a brand new market. So it wasn't as if we knew people in the market. We literally moved from Texas, where I was doing pest control as a technician for a company called MetroGuard Pest Control, and where I was a senior technician. Moved from Texas to New York, and that's right. That's where my father was, and he asked us to move there for where we were his only family, and just we open the doors by doing a home show the first day, and got a few customers, and it just built from the ground up. No salespeople.
Mm,
We have one salesperson now, which we've only been using an actual outside salesperson for about a month, and been in business for 20, going on our 26th year, and this is the first time we've ever used an outside salesperson where they're actually just going out and doing it, other than myself and my manager, who, but we at the time we were also doing rallies. So
yeah,
that's
definitely.
that's how we
So,
got where
so
we
yeah,
are.
so talk to me about those first few years of Pestmaster then. What was working, what wasn't, what was it difficult?
Uh, Pestmaster is very unique in the fact that they go after a lot of government contracts, and that's where a lot of my forte comes now. Is just we do have to go after a lot of government contracts in addition to our standard residential and commercial pest control. But it is a it's a portion of our current book of business. I mean, we do West Point Military Academy. We've been doing that for 26 years, and that small
Mm,
government, city, school, states, hospitals, anything like that. we go after that. And that's where the forte came in from Pestmaster. So they helped us secure West Point back in 2001, and we've had it ever since.
Hmm. What are the pros and cons of having a government client or government contract?
Well, there's a lot of regulation that the bidding process can be arduous at best. When you go to a pizzeria or a small hotel or, even residential, you could just go and shoot them a price and write on a contract or service agreement and you call it a day. This is totally different. The between the FAR, which is the Federal Acquisition Regulations, and just filling out the paperwork correctly, it can be a daunting task for any company. And that being said, it could, it's not unusual for a federal contract to come out. It's a 150-page contract. But you better understand 150 pages of that 150-page contract. And then getting paid is a whole other thing. You would think that if you're working for the federal government, they'd have one pay system. Well, they don't. If you're working for the Army, that's one type of system that you have to input your invoices in. If you're working for the Veterans Administration, that's a whole other set. If you're working for schools, for the government, that's a whole other set. And then that doesn't come into play your state contracts, things like that. That's where my wife, Amy, excels. She absolutely just kills it with doing learning how to do what we call specialized billing. And we have an entire team that's dedicated. That's all they do is the specialized billing is there because it's that tedious. If you miss a penny or you are off by a penny, they kick it back. And then and they don't tell you why they kicked it back. You just have to figure it out. And so that's just been, it's just something that we've learned how to deal with and how to do and just make sure, that everything is correct every time. But,
Really?
that's the cons, it's a lot of tedious bookkeeping and compliance. But,
Mm.
at the end of the day, it's a nice thing to have. It's nice for me to be able to say, hey, I do the pest control at West Point Military Academy. For, I do the governor's mansion in New York State. So, and I've had that one for quite a while as well. So it's a nice reference to say, okay, if the best military trusts us, and if the governor, we could go in the governor's house, obviously we're doing something right.
Mm. So I'm not familiar with government contracts. I am super surprised. You said you have a whole team that's just dedicated to billing. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, between searching for them, between searching for the government contracts and then putting the whole bid together. Because you have to pull all the licenses together. You have to do do the licenses, the insurances, put everything together. You got to write the actual scope of work for the contract. It's not just a lot of times. It's not just fill in the price. You have to tell them how you have to describe what you're going to do to solve XYZ problem, whether it's disease on a golf course, on the grass, on the turf that we take care of, or if it's, what's the best way to treat for the spongy moth, that we treated last year with helicopters, how are we going to do that? And we pulled that and having the technical knowledge of being an entomologist, in addition to having my wife who understands the contract side of it, and then the team that puts it all together and being able to facilitate a special request for special work in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks it's a pretty niche business. There's not a whole lot of companies out there that can kind of do what we do.
Yeah, I would think so. And what also blew my mind is having contracts up to 150 pages. I mean, what does that even consist of?
Well, it consists of the schedule, like how all the list of buildings, the square footage of the buildings, all the description of every service that you're going to provide. So it's not just, hey, you're going to do pest control and you're going to charge them $100 a month. It's we're going to do this type of pest control for stored product pests. We're going to do this type of pest control for turf damaging insects or aquatic vegetation removal. So everything has its own particular line item. and it requires its own separate price, and you have to understand and write the scope of work, how you're going to do it, what licenses you have to do it, in in addition to being able to provide them the list of approved products that you're going to use.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
You
edges of that. And in addition to, there's special pay rates that you're required to pay. You can't just pay normal $20 an hour to a technician. The government sets you what you have, the minimum that you have to pay them. So you have the prevailing wage price, which varies by county or state or both. And then you have to provide health and welfare benefits on top of that, which would be, copying your insurance and the uniform allowance and, overtime pay and holiday pay and basically your benefits package. You have to put that separately on a separate paycheck. And it's very, very tedious. And thank God my wife does all that and is in charge of all that department, because I lose my mind.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. Yeah, you've mentioned your wife several times, Amy, and I was just mentioning before the call that a lot of people in our program, it's usually not usually, but oftentimes it's the husband and wife running the business. It's not just the husband, or maybe it's just the wife. So how do you balance that? Or, also being married, having the relationship with your wife, but also building a business together.
I just do what I'm told at the end of the day, you know. Um, we have a very good relationship. We've always worked together. We've always, even before we did the pest control thing, when um, at one point we had a business, an ice cream parlor, candy shop here in Florida, and again, we work with each other. We're around each other 24 hours a day. So um, it's just it takes patience and a lot of love, and thank God she's got both of that. So
Mm,
yeah, because
yeah.
we would not be where we are now without Amy, 100%. Because I'd probably still be on some antiquated software system, or if I was even on software at all. And that makes all the difference in the world for these guys that want to grow. You got to get the bones. You're building a house, you got to build a foundation first. And part of that foundation is whatever CRM you're going to use. You want to make sure that that CRM is going to grow with you. It's one thing to buy into a CRM because of what your needs are now, but you need to be able to forecast what your needs are in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Because we've changed CRMs in the middle of, our growth. It's a pain in the butt. It really, really is. And, Amy, we're on field routes. No secrets. We're on fields. I even had Amy go out to McKinney, Texas, and train in their office to sit with them for like 2 days and just let her learn the system. And then she brought all that knowledge back to us. And so we were able to, do it, to put it to its best uses. And we're still learning. I still think like it's a sports car. We're still stuck in like second or third gear in it. And
Yeah.
we're one of our first customers. We're like 8 years that we're down 8 years down the road now with Field Roots, which is was about how long they've been. So
hmm Definitely. So, okay, cool. And yeah, as most owners know, that CRM is crucial, need to have something in place. Field routes is one of the more common ones. So you guys use field routes. Is there any other software that you guys use that's it's like, hey guys, Dan Leibrandt here. Real quick, if you're a pest control owner looking to grow, I have two amazing resources for you. Number one is our free Pest Control Millionaires Facebook group. We have over 3,000 owners just like you in our community and would love for you to be a part of it. Just go search Pest Control Millionaires on Facebook and request to join the group now. Number two is our book, Zip Code Kings. This was authored by me, Jonas Olson, and Jake Sheldon to be the ultimate guide to pest control marketing. We discuss everything from branding and traditional marketing to local SEO and Facebook ads. Go to Amazon and search Zip Code Kings to get your copy today. Now, that being said, let's get back to the show.
Smarter Launch was from Eric Fletcher. Amazing product. Absolutely amazing product. Everybody that I've talked to about it and they've gotten on it, they're like, studies like send me a gift certificate for a restaurant because they're so happy with getting on board with that company. So that's a game changer for
Wow.
the industry for the proposal software. And then we use Applause as well, so our technicians can get some reviews and get some remunerated through the customer, some tips and things like that through Applause, and it helps our build our Google reviews, which is always a good thing, as you know. So
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Smarter Launch and Applause. Yeah, I've heard many good things about both those platforms. So cool. I just want to make sure because a lot of people are always asking about software.
yeah.
Um, and then uh, another thing I want to ask you, Paul, is you mentioned that you guys started this company about 26 years ago. And I want to know if you were to start a new company or even just open up another location, how do you go about opening up in a new market? Because I feel like, I mean, when you open up for the first time, like you guys did 26 years ago, there's bound to be tons of mistakes and problems. So what would you do if you were to start over or start another?
I mean, it's at this point the game's changed so much, right? Because with SEO and the internet, everything like that, we didn't have the benefit of that back in the day. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't like we used phone books. We Googled, we were in phone books, and people would look us up, and that's how we got. So we were in like 15 different phone books, and that's how we got our new business. Now it's
Hmm.
totally different. So I'd have to open up a Zip Code Kings and probably read that book again. Is probably what I'd do. So start a new brand. Luckily, I don't have to do that. I don't have to open a new brand branch. So, but that's kind of the one. It's just using the tools that are available to us at the time. Clover leafing, whether we're doing postcard mail outs. Of trying it again this year. I don't know if it's going to work or not. We'll see. Um, but a lot of just learning and using the social media aspect of it is the way I would be doing it now. I mean, but everybody's door knockers. We didn't have door knockers back then. So everybody wants to use door knockers. I'm still on the fence
Hmm.
with door knockers because of my personal experiences with them. So, and we won't go into
Hmm.
that.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I know that there's definitely mixed opinions about door to door in this industry. I know a lot of the eight-figure owners that I've talked to have grown through door to door, but a lot of people I also talk to say it's unethical or they don't like it. So I understand both sides.
Right. But again, the pricing structure, and because I've had door knockers badmouth my company to me, not knowing I'm the owner of the company. So
Mm,
So that being said, that door knocking, they don't come in my neighborhood anymore for some reason. I don't know why. But it's not if you're gonna, I don't have a problem with anybody sell with ethics and integrity. That's fine. But when they're just selling to sell because they're not getting paid unless they sell, that's the problem that I have with door knocking companies. And I haven't had any experience other than those type of companies. So.
got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, what I also want to ask you, which is I guess kind of the thesis of the show is just generally helping pest control owners grow. For you, for your company, what is working best in terms of generating leads and sales?
Um, probably just the social media and the LSAs is probably our biggest spend. And with a good ROI is the LSA stuff that we're doing. We drop a lot of money into LSAs.
Hmm, got it.
And then just
So
provide,
LSAs and social media. Yeah,
yeah, we just provide quality service. We're asking for reviews and we're posting those reviews and things like that. And then, the other companies in my market are not that strong. So that helps us as well. From a uh from basically a training issue where we're training our techs and all our techs are licensed and background checked and everything like that versus you hire somebody, you put them in a truck, so now you have a truck and a truck and they're just going to spray. We don't even spray, we apply. It's just the different differentiators that we like to point out to the customer, make sure they're aware there are a lot of differentiators between us and the other companies that are in our market.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. So you guys are getting a lot of natural referrals then, or organic referrals, just from doing a
Oh,
really good
absolutely.
service.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
my customers, but like my customer churn rate is under 1%. And, my customers are staying with me for, anywhere from 7 to 10 years on average.
Wow.
The door-to-door customer, the door-to-door companies, I think that they're churning, almost 100% over a
Mm.
very short 2-year period, that the clients are moving on because of unfulfilled promises, is what I'm told. That's what I'm told. And so,
1% churn.
yeah,
Well, 1% churn is incredible. Okay, so talk to me more about how you retain customers and keep them that long.
customer service. That it is just customer service. Under promise, over deliver. You know, you know, don't park your truck in the driveway. Bring in the trash can if it's out by the street. You don't park in the driveway, because if your truck leaks oil, now you leaked oil on their driveway, they're gonna be pissed off. You know, go beyond, under promise but over deliver is what I call it. You know, show up in a nice, clean uniform, clean truck, presentable. There's a lot of companies that are killing it out there with their branding, with their presentation to the customer. And believe it or not, it makes a difference. Become friends with your customers. If somebody passes on, we send a condolence letter. If we know if it's a kid's birthday, drop a card. So we used to send handwritten thank you notes to the customers, something that people don't do here. We don't do it anymore. We should, but we don't have time, you know,
Mm.
but, so now our software will send out a thank you letter to them and that kind of stuff. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just old fashioned good customer service is what it boils down to. You know, we tell our technicians, okay, treat this house as if it was your own house or your mother's house. And then when you get done, ask yourself the question, because they're out there by themselves, right? So they're their own police. You say, just before you get in the truck and pull me out of that driveway, ask yourself, would you pay for that service that you just provided? You
Mm.
know, and just ask that question to yourself. And if you say no, go fix it before you leave, because the customer is going to know it anyway. You're always on camera. We're always on camera. No matter where we are, there's a camera. Somebody's watching, whether it's inside or outside. And, if you're going to take a shortcut, you're probably going to get caught. It's not worth it. Just ask yourself when you get in the truck, was the service I provided today worth the XYZ price that we're charging now? And a
Mm.
technician say yes, then they don't get, the guys that say yes almost every time never get complaints, don't get callbacks. It's the
Mm.
guys that take the
Uh,
shortcuts where the callbacks come.
Yeah. Now that is such a powerful frame shift. Surprisingly actually haven't heard someone say, maybe treat it like your mom's house. I mean, obviously you would go above and beyond for your mom's house or maybe a close friend or relative. So instead of just, oh, it's another house, I just have to get through another day of servicing, like, no, actually take pride in your work and make sure
Yeah.
that not only just morally and ethically, but also, I mean, you are probably on camera. So make sure that you're doing a good job because you're being watched somehow. That maybe
Yeah.
someone's watching you through the window across the street.
If we're doing a service, checking road base stations, and let's say we just had a fresh snowed, obviously we're going to see if there's footprints in the snow.
Mm.
And I'm not saying my guys are perfect. Okay. I've gotten the call. Hey, you just charge you for exterior rodent service to check all the base stations, but there's no footprints around. It sends me pictures. It's like, okay, so now it's a teaching moment, provided it's the first time it's happened with tech. It's a teaching moment. Dude, you're on camera, you know,
Mm.
you know, so then you have to go back and, tuck tail, go back and meet with the customer and do the service the right way.
Mm.
So
And I think this directly ties into who you hire in the first place, right? Because ideally, this kind of thing never happens. That the service is always great because you hire great people. So talk to me about that. How do you find great people to staff on your team?
it's a chore. It's a challenge. I mean, straight up, it's a challenge, especially this time of year, any time of year, because the workforce is not what it used to be. People don't have the ever since COVID, people don't want to work. You can get free money by going through unemployment. Why am I going to have to work? You think I'm going to have to work? I mean, if I do 12 hours today or 10 hours today, it's hard. You know,
Mm,
we are very picky at who we hire. And that's, that makes it we kind of create our own problems by being that difficult. We watch you, but before we even interview you, you have to give us your driver's license. We run your driver's license. Before we even offer an interview, we run your driver's license. So that costs us like $15 just to do that out of the gate. We go down to literally fill out the paperwork, go down to the DMV and get a motor vehicle abstract. Because if they're going to, if the insurance company's not going to cover them, and then we get back that their license that's suspended, or they have a DUI that they didn't tell us about. So now we know their driving history,
mm,
and then, you know, at the end, you interview them and find out what they want. You try to, we hire now for, more for morals and ethics than we do for, and integrity than we do for experience. Because
mm.
there's a lot of bad techs out there that just, they know how to do shortcuts and things like that. And at the end of the interview, we walk them out to their car, all the way out to their car, because now we get to see how they keep their car. If they keep their car,
Mm.
you know, if you go out there and the car's just, full of garbage and cups and stuff like that, that might not be the right fit, because you want your truck is your office, and your truck is the moving billboard. So if they can't keep their own stuff in good shape, working condition, clean, how are they going to keep your stuff that they don't have to pay for?
Mm.
So it makes it a little more difficult to find the right people. But, then we run a background check on them, and that weeds out a bunch of people and all that stuff.
Yeah, interesting. I've never heard someone go to the lengths, but again, it makes sense to run their driver's license and get a full background check, and also maybe to see if they're lying. I think that's there's a quote I pulled from you, which is if you lie to me, you're fired. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we have 3 rules. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to us, the management team. Don't lie to the customer, and just do your job. If somebody's sick, right? So if you know the night before if you're going to come into work that day, unless something really weird happens, by 7 or 8 o'clock the night before. If it's in the middle of summertime, you could just be like, listen, he could just pick up the phone and say, hey, Paul, listen, man, tomorrow's Thursday. I am just shot. I mean, I've been running 14-hour days the last 2 or 3 days. I don't think I'm burned out. I just need a break. Okay, fine. Then we'll work the schedule to accommodate you. But don't call me at 8 o'clock in the day of and say I'm sick. You did not just get sick at 8 o'clock in the morning. You didn't feel good either the night before. There's always precursors to it, and then we have we've had in the past, we've had staffs that would historically, um, the day after a big game, they call out, or,
Mm.
a certain day of the week, they bragged that, oh yeah, I'm going out to play darts tonight or throw horseshoes or whatever. And then the next day, yeah, I'm sick. I came down with a stomach bug, but it's like every week. So
Yeah.
I mean, just tell me, I need to be off on Wednesday, or I need to be off on Thursday, whatever. And we'll work with you. It's that simple. Be honest. Tell me the truth. You know, very rarely people get sick at the last minute. In advance if you're not going to be able to come into work. So we just ask for, transparency and honest communication in both directions.
Mm. Is there a story that comes to mind pertaining that where someone told you like a horrible lie and you had to let them go?
I just had to let somebody go the other day because he lied to me. So, I mean, I don't have to, I'm fortunate. I don't have to go that far back. You know,
Mm.
I, I'm in Florida right now, and, but my operation's in New York. So I go back to New York like once a month. So I was in the office, and this isn't about lying about being sick. This is just about it, just lying in general. But, I saw the kid, and then I said, he wasn't in uniform, and uniform, it's a big deal for me. And then we're in the middle of transitioning to new uniforms. So I said, well, where's your uniform? He says, it doesn't fit. It's like, okay, which uniform does not fit? Well, the new ones. Understandable, because mine don't fit either. So, and I wear a uniform too. So I said, so where's the old uniform? Well, they're in my closet. Well, why are you not wearing it? Because they don't fit. I said, okay. So I kind of left us. Well, let's actually at that point, he hadn't told me they didn't fit. I just said, make sure you're in uniform the next time I see you. Well, he didn't expect me to be there like 2 days later when he showed up. He was in the same Dowdy uniform, muck rucker boots on because it was raining out, but black jeans. He should have had tan pants on. He's wearing one of our sweatshirts, and he could wear a sweatshirt, but you have to have our uniform underneath it. Wasn't wearing that. I'm like, we had this conversation. Why are we still having this conversation again? And at this point, I'm getting aggravated. And I don't ever yell at anybody, but at this point, I was getting aggravated because we were just in an endless loop of, well, you said this, and I said, yeah, I said this. You're right. And but you didn't do this. Well, so you go back and forth. Uniforms don't fit, and come to find out, he'd never put on his other uniform, his old uniforms. He just never told anybody they didn't fit. So at that point, I just like, you know what, this is not going to work, and today's your last day. So he called me 3 days in a row after I let him go, begging for his job back. So,
dang. So it's ultimately
Dan, it's not that hard. Just do your job.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just do your job. I mean, we're giving you a truck.
What I was going to say,
gas card. I'm giving you uniforms to wear. I said, the only thing I'm basically not giving you is your underwear. Other than that, you can wear everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what I'm noticing here is that it really all boils down to trust, and you shouldn't have to babysit them, and tell them every single day. Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to, if you're not going to be, I will never hire, I trust but verify. But the minute you lose our trust, then it's just a matter of when you're being fired or being let go. And don't get me wrong, we don't go through a lot of people. We don't have our employee churn rate is as good as our customer churn rate. We don't lose a lot of people. So I can't complain, my operations, or I'm sorry, my COO is phenomenal. And he spends a lot of time training and setting the expectations and making sure every employee understands the expectations and can meet the expectations. We never want to set somebody up for failure. Absolutely not. Because that's not fair to them. And it just costs us money. So why would we do that? So it's just a matter of if they know the expectations coming in from day number 2, they understand the expectations. And if they can't meet them, then they move on. But luckily, our hiring process is so rigid that when somebody comes on board, they work out great. I've got a company, I've got technicians that we've hired that we were told they came with experience. This one in particular came to us with experience, and he told us the honest truth. He said, yes, I was fired from this company, and this is why I was fired. And then we go back to that company because we have a relationship with them. Say, hey, so-and-so is applying here. What's your thoughts? Oh, he was the worst tech ever. And he's actually, we sat him down. We went through the process of the expectation. It wasn't a him problem. It was a them problem. And he's one of our best and the most highly recognized technicians. Customers absolutely love him.
That's awesome. So I guess you can't always trust what the other companies say then.
Oh, of course not. No, because if you trust but verify.
So definitely. One other thing I wanted to note was, so you've mentioned your company is based in New York, but yet you're in Florida. So how do you balance that? And how do you run your company yet you're not there?
Quality staff, highly qualified and quality staff. It's our first year down here. We are in Vero Beach, Florida. It's where I grew up. And we just bought a house here back in October with the plan of spending winter down here. My wife has been there. She's pretty much stayed down here the whole time. I've gone to New York, I think twice in the last 4 months, maybe 3 times in the last 4 months. But when I go in, I'm in, I'm out, I'm quick. I'm there for like 3 or 4 days. I drive up and grab whatever I need from the house, do the work that I got to do, and come back down here. And so far it's working. I mean, I have a full office, remote office desktop here, the same exact one that I have at my office in New York. So, and everything's so with the internet, everything's so I can look at the bank account. I can do on QuickBooks Online. I can look at the schedule. I can run credit cards if somebody forgets to do that. I can run AR reports. I can do everything. I log into my CRM from here. I can do, customers still call me. They're like, hey, I need that proposal. So I can do proposals through SmarterLaunch from here. Amy has the same ability to jump in and work with our specialized billing if need be. I can look at the ADP payroll. I can do everything I could do in Kingston, short of going out and actually visiting the customer. Other than that, I can do everything I need to do from remotely. And it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I run, I run 2 online businesses. I agree. Sometimes I'll be traveling, I'll be maybe overseas, and I can still get all my work done. It's awesome.
Yep, I get all the work done. I get up. My wife, she likes to get up a little later than I do. I get up, I get on the computer, I do everything. I have all my meetings set early in the morning with my team. And then, as I told you when we jumped on before you actually started recording, 5 minutes before this recording, I was literally had a hook and a rod in the water fishing on a dock. So I do that for about 2 to 3 hours a day. I go out and go fishing, and it's just me and the pelicans and the dolphin and the fish, and just sit out there, take phone calls, or I could do my business even sitting on the dock.
That's the life. And I feel like a lot of people either get like too caught up in the grind where they're just working nonstop, where I feel like a lot of people that ultimately is what they want, or at least what they wanted is, to have some freedom and be able to do what you want with your time, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're going to Tampa next couple of days just to go have dinner with Seth from Pest Daily. So we're going to go have dinner with him. We'll spend a night and drive back over here. We're 3 hours away, and my dad's 2 hours away. But it's once you get to a certain point of working, you got to work on your business, not in your business. And if you're in the day-to-day grind in your office every day and running routes and things like that, you're working in your business. Where the owners, once you hit a certain point, and don't get me wrong, working in your business is part of the deal. It's part of it. I saw somebody actually was on the Pest Control Billionaires, had asked a question about marketing and how to do this and how to do that. And as I'm looking at it, he posted a picture of his location. This is like a week and a half ago. He posted a picture of his location, and I'm like, I know where that is. That's right here in town. So I DM'd him through Facebook. We connected, and Amy and I went over there and sat with him and his sister for like 2 hours and just went over, this is what you need to do. Stop doing this. Look at this software. This is what, you can do this with this software. Look at this nuance with field routes, get this fixed and things like that. And so hopefully we're going to try to have another meeting to help them at war, but I do know they signed up for SmarterLaunch. So that's cool. So
yeah, no, that's so awesome that
your Facebook, that's because your Facebook or, the Pest Control airs. So, so we're just, I like to help people, just like you said in the beginning, you want to help people grow, and that's what I want to do as well. And whether you're a Pestmaster, which is, obviously we are the largest out of like 50 locations. But anybody who calls me, I'm going to try to help them, because at the end of the day, it's just, I'm a student of the game of pest control anyway. So, I have a lot of contacts, and I'm going on Wednesday with one of our industry icons to help to watch him do a lot of termite inspections and things like that down here in South Florida, just because, I'm still a student of the game. So I want to still learn, even though it's probably going to be on drywoods, which I don't have up in New York, but it's fun to get back into it and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, there's never too much you can learn. That there's always more. There's always bigger fish out there. There's always people that you can learn from. And yeah, that's so awesome that you were helping with that person in the group. Yeah, I see you pretty active. You're always helping people there, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's fun. I like it. It has nothing to do with size either. So I learned a valuable lesson. And I'm not going to say names just because I don't want to boost his ego, but I don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings either. But I'm dealing with a pest control business issue. And he and I were talking, and he's much smaller than I am. He's like, "Well, listen, should handle it this way." I'm like, and it was like because I wanted to do it a totally different way. I just wanted to just do what I wanted to do and be done with it. He's like, "No, you got to do it this way." So, and I'm like, "See, that just show you, I don't know everything. I'm doing a very healthy business. I'm not perfect, and I need somebody from an outsider's perspective. And this guy's probably, 2 trucks or 3 trucks in, and I got 25 or 30 trucks on the road. He taught me something. So that was valuable information, made me really think of it from a different perspective. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to try it that way and see what happens.
Sweet.
So
Yeah,
pretty
never.
much anybody, it doesn't matter if you're a $10 million company or a $250,000 company, everybody can learn equally. And that's why I like the industry. And I love going to different conferences, whether it's Pest Daily, whether it's Eagles Nest Mastermind Group, whether it's a PJB group or a Paul Bello group, things like that. I wanted to go to Bug Bucks, but I didn't make that one this time. And it's just, you can always learn from somebody, whether it's a Nicola
Mm.
event or whether it's AAC. There's so many different events and networking opportunities. And I try to tell that to even our franchise when they have their own internal meetings. I say, it's not about who's sitting up at the podium telling you how to kill a spider or an ant. It's about the sidebars that happen, you know, during dinner, on coffee breaks, when it's the one-on-one communication and conversation. That's where the value comes in. I'm great friends with the people at Pest Pros of Michigan. Fantastic company, fantastic people. I learn from them all the time. Maria Sorrentino, she's awesome. Anthony's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
definitely. Yeah, no, I totally agree on the conference perspective. I remember the first year I went to Pest World, all I did because I didn't know anyone was just go to all the different seminars and listening to people speak. And then this most recent year, which was like 6 months ago, I didn't go to a single seminar. The whole time was just meeting people that I've been connecting with online and I don't know, maybe people running into me and that kind of thing. And I got way more value out of that, which I'm not saying like don't go to seminars. Seminars aren't valuable or they can't be. But like you said, a lot of it is getting that interpersonal relationship and learning exactly from people's experiences and what's working for them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. I haven't been to a seminar at Pest World in probably like 4 or 5 years. We go
Wow.
for all the sidebars, the dinners, the meetings, and the show floor, the vendor show floor is what I go for. I can get all my credits online. I'm not worried about the credits, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Um, Something else, which tying back to the working in or on your business before we wrap up here. So, at least what I was understanding from what you were saying is that there's a period of time where you have to work in your business before you can work on it. Is there like a
Well, also,
level of business where you get at, or maybe you hire your COO?
it's set in stone. Like it's when you hit this revenue mark, you have to work in your business on your business. No, every day I'm working in the business, but as I put people in their places, I'm able to more look from the bigger picture and kind of um, delegate and things like that. My operations manager, or I'm sorry, it's a new title. He was my operations guy. Now he's my COO, Chief Operating Officer. So, um, he's got his head in the game so much. I mean, he's like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to do this, this, and this is what the ROI is going to be. So I'm able to sit back and just kind of contemplate what he's telling me instead of just saying, yeah, let's just throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. He's coming at me with data and numbers and everything like that, which is really invaluable in trying to work on the business versus in the business. So when I say you're in the business, if you're in the truck every day and doing, and then running a full route, and then trying to sit down and do the bank deposit, that's you're working in the business. When you're working on the business, you're able to strategize and say, okay, I have a meeting at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock every Tuesday morning that we're strategizing our marketing. That's my marketing meeting is 9 o'clock every Tuesday, 9:30 every Tuesday morning. I meet with my business consultant at 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. And then just so everything just kind of dovetails together. And then we have the game plan for the week. Okay, we're going to meet the expectation, we're going to do that, and things like that. So then I'm able to circle back and say, okay, what do I mean? I need to work on this. And then I had time dedicated that I could work on this project, whether it's a marketing, working with my marketing team directly, or if it's, concentrating and running all the numbers for a bid that we're putting together. Or if it's go so far as if it's helping another branch that's putting a bid together so I can help them so they can be successful. And that's what I call by working on the business versus in the business. If you're looking through a windshield, run your business through a windshield of a truck, you're in your business. If you're able to sit and look out the window of the office, you're working on your business.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay. So you have to get out of the truck at some point if you really want to grow.
Right.
And then it seems like there's kind of a constant balance of working in / on business.
Balance, but it's got easier because, virtual assistants have really changed the game drastically from an office standpoint. Because there was like, do I hire another tech? Do I hire an office person? Well, you want to hire a tech because the tech is going to make you the money, whereas the office person is going to process the money. So you really have to figure out what's going to work best for your model. But now with the technology, whatever it may be, Pest AI or SOS, whatever the different phone systems are, and the AI integration, and then on top of it, having a virtual assistants out of the Philippines or Mexico or another country, that changes the whole game because now I have 6 VAs that answer the phones for us. So having the VAs, I'm paying 5 VAs, essentially what it costs me to have one person in the office. I have 3 of them. They're $8 an hour, $10 an hour, whatever it is, versus a $20 or $30 an hour employee that sits in my office and doing the exact same thing.
Where are your virtual assistants based?
Philippines and Mexico.
Huh. Yeah, because a problem I see there is sometimes they'll have too strong of an accent.
What's that? No, because I've had one instance that a customer got pissed off and fired us because they didn't want to talk to insert racial slur. So it was like, fine. You go away. You're not the type of customer I want because you're not going to disrespect my staff. I'm sorry that you don't like the fact that we have somebody from the Philippines answering the phone. But at the end of the day, that's who's answering the phone. They speak, and the running joke that when I describe this conversation, I've had it numerous times. They speak English gooder than we do. So, cut people some slack. Don't be a racist idiot. We have a gentleman that works for us out of Mexico. Fantastic. You don't know he lived in the U.S. for like 20 years. He's bilingual. That's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. And then we've hired 5. We've never had to fire any VAs ever.
Wow.
They show up, they do what they're supposed to do. We could do a whole podcast on that pull Seth Watson into it from Focus VA.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I did some work for him last year.
Yeah. Yes. That's good people.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And yeah, I totally vouch for VAs as well. I've got several VAs and
then you
my agency. Yeah. Of course. So cool. Paul, I know we're almost at time here, so we'll start to wrap up. I've got one final question that I like to ask all of my guests. And that is, what is your message to the pest control owners out there? What do you want to tell them? What do you think they need to know?
Oh, wow. I don't have that much time. Stop asking stupid questions on the internet. Um, Stop using the word spray. We don't spray chemicals. We apply products. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves is just
Mm,
uh, dumbing down our industry. If you guys want to get paid like a doctor, you got to act like a doctor.
mm,
Straight up.
got it. So have to take it more seriously is kind of what I'm getting there. Paul, this has been a pleasure. I really appreciate your time coming on the show. Where can people find you and contact you?
This is, well, obviously on social media, I'm Paul Alley Sr. because my son is wanted to make sure and differentiate us on social media. And you can email me at paul@pestmaster.biz if you have any questions or if I can be of any assistance in government contracting or anything like that. Just shoot me an email, paul@pestmaster.biz, B-I-Z, as in boy, indigo, zebra.
Awesome. So yeah, make sure to go follow Paul on Facebook. He is one of the legends in the pest control industry. And thanks so much for coming on, Paul. This has been awesome.
Yeah, my pleasure, Dan. Anytime.
Sweet.
Now I'm going to go echo.
Hey guys, Dan Leibrandt here. Thanks for listening to this episode of Pest Control Legends. I hope you found it valuable. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. I read every single one and I really appreciate it. Now, that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.